Equality of surds. Given two surds, p plus root m and q plus root n, what conditions must be satisfied if the surd p plus root m is to be equal to q plus root n? Suppose p plus root n is equal to q plus root n, then p minus q is equal to root n minus root m. So what you observe is that when this is so, the left hand side of the equation is a rational number, while the right hand side is not, and can only be equal if they are both equal to 0. Thus, p minus q is equal to 0, and that means that p is equal to q. And this part, root n minus root m is equal to 0, which means that root n is equal to root n. So the concept of equality of two surds enables us to determine the square roots of a surdic number. So we use this concept of equality of surds to determine square roots of surdic numbers or expressions. So I take examples subsequently. We're going to see how this rule is applied. Find the square roots of 7 plus 2 root 10. So we're going to say let the square roots of 7 plus 2 root 10 be root m plus root n. So then we can say root m plus root n, root m plus root n is equal to 7 plus 2 root 10. Remember, when I introduced the topic, we said that from the equality of surds, if you have roots, say roots, let's say p plus root m will be equal to q plus root n. Remember this part of the introduction. So for these two surds to be equal, this means that this part is equal to this side. So if that is so, both sides must be equal to 0. But then that means p, if you bring the q to this side, and then root n minus root n. So this is the only way that they can be equal. And for this to be true, that means both sides must be equal to 0. Root n minus root n must be equal to 0, which means that this implies that p is equal to q, and this also implies that root n is equal to root n. So here we're going to say the question says find the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10. So let the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 be root m plus root n. So this part of this should be equal to this part. So next thing is we're going to square this part here. So root m plus root n squared is equal to 7 plus 2 root 10. So now we need to expand this bracket. Root m plus root n squared is equal to root m plus root n over root n plus root n plus root n plus root n. So this will give us root m times root n will give us m. Remember that when you have root m times root n, so this is like it's m squared. So 2 cancel m, so we have m. So root m times root m give us m. Root m times root n is equals to plus give us mn. From multiplication rule of surds, root m times root n is equal to root mn. Okay, so root n times root m will give us plus root mn. Then root n times root n will give us plus n. So altogether, finally we're going to have m plus 2 root n plus n. So we'll put this in place of this here. So m plus 2 root n plus n is equal to 7 plus 2 root 10. Okay, so at this point, let's bring together m plus n plus 2 root n is equal to 7 plus 2 root 10. So we're going to equate terms. So equating terms. So m plus n is equal to 7. We have m plus n is equal to 7. We call this equation 1. And then 2 root mn, 2 root mn, 2 root mn is equal to 2 root 10. So this is what we mean by equating terms. Like terms must be equal, just like what we have here, p and q. P, where is it again? Okay, p minus q is equal to 0. P minus q is equal to root n minus root n. So 2 root mn is equal to 2 root 10. And then finally, p minus q is equal to 0, root n, root n minus root n is equal to 0. So at this juncture, what we do is, okay, we're going to say from equation 1, which is this part, m is equal to 7 minus n, which means we've made n the subject of the formula. So we can call this equation 3. So next thing is we're going to say from, put equation 3 into equation 2. Sorry, but before we move on to this side, let's simplify this. Okay, 2 root n. So we don't have equation 2 yet. Let's continue on this part. So this 2 will cancel this part. So we have root n is equal to root 10. So we are going to square both sides of that. Even say this square root sign cancel this square root sign. So we have n equal to 10. So this is now equation 2. So we're going to say from equation 1, m is equal to 7 minus n. So this becomes our equation 3. So we're going to say put 3 into equation 2. So put 3 into equation 2 in place of n. Put 3 into equation 2. So where we have n, we're going to put 7 minus n. So 7 minus n is equal to 10. 7 times n gives us 7n. Minus n times n gives us minus n squared is equal to 10. It's equal to 10. So we bring this 10 to this side, becomes 7n minus n squared minus 10 is equal to 0. So let's rearrange our quadratic equation. Minus n squared plus 7n minus 10 is equal to 0. Our n squared, coefficient of n squared is minus, so we need to make it to be, we need to turn it to make it to become positive. So what do? We multiply through by minus 1. So when we do that, we're going to have n squared minus 7n plus 10 is equal to 0. So now we're going to solve this as a quadratic equation. So we're going to multiply this to give me 10n squared. Remember the sign plus 10n squared. So two factors that would, when multiplied together, will give me 10n squared, and when added, will give me minus 7n. Since this place is negative, means that the highest factor is negative. So the factors of 10 are 5 times 2. So minus 5 times minus 2 will give me plus 10. So if I put n here and put n here, that will give me plus 10n squared, because n times n will give me n squared. So minus 5n plus 2n will give me, minus 5n minus 2n will give me minus 7n. So I'll put this in place of this. So now I'm going to rewrite my equation. N squared minus 5n minus 2n plus 10 is equal to 0. So n squared minus 5n and then minus 2n plus 10 is equal to 0. And n is equal to n minus 5 minus 2 n minus 5 equal to 0. So n minus 5 n minus 2 is equal to 0. So either n minus 5 is equal to 0 or n minus 2 is equal to 0. So n is equal to 5 or n is equal to 2. From equation 4, remember equation 4, where is it? Okay, from equation 3, remember from equation 3, n is equal to 7 minus n. This is the value for n. So now we need to get the value for m. From equation 3, n is equal to 7 minus n. So if we take n to be 5, so where n is equal to 5, n would be 7 minus 5, and that's 2. So where n rather is equal to 2, where n is equal to 2, n from equation theory will be 7 minus 2, and that would be equal to 5. So what does that tell us? Therefore, so remember when we started, we say let the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 be root n plus root n. So if we put root m is 5 and n is 2, or if m is 2, n is 5, therefore the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 or root 5 plus root 2 twice. Root 5, okay, let me write it here, r root 5 plus root 2, or root 5 plus root 2 twice. So that's the result. So the square root of 7 plus 2 root 10 or root 5 plus root 2 twice. Let's run our check to see if the answer is correct. So if root 5, if m is 5 and n is 2, and then we square it, then this will give us root 5 plus root 2. Remember that we said the square of this will give us 7 plus 2 root 10. So square, let's go if it will give us that. So this implies that root 5 plus root 2 is 5 plus root 2. That's the implication of this square sign. Okay, so root 5 times root 5 is 5, and then root 5 times plus root 2 will give us root 10, plus root 2 times root 5 will give us root 10, plus root 2 times root 2 will give us 2. Now 5 plus 2 is 7. Root 10 plus root 10 is equal to 2 root 10. Now check, compare this to what you have here. It's the same. So it's checked. The answer is correct. Find the square root of 14 minus 4 root 6. So let the square root of 14 minus 4 root 6 be root p minus root q. The sign must agree with what you have here. So root p minus, so then this part should be equal to this part. Root p minus root q is equal to 14 minus 4 root 6. So we need to square this part. Root p minus root q is equal to raised to power 2 is equal to 14 minus 4 root 6. So we expand this, we're going to have p minus 2, p minus root pq minus root pq plus q equals to 14 minus 4 root 6. And p minus 2 root pq plus q is equal to 14 minus 4 root 6. And then p plus q minus 2 root pq is equal to 14 minus 4 root 6. So equating terms, p plus q will be equal to 14. P plus q is equal to 14, equation 1. And then minus 2 root pq is equal to minus 4 root 6. So minus 2 will cancel minus 4 to give us 2. So root pq is equal to 2 root 6. So we square both sides. When we square both sides, root pq squared is equal to 2 root 6 squared. So this 2 will cancel this. Here will be pq. Now this 2 raised to power 2 is 4, and root 6 raised to power 2 will outside the side. So that will give us 4 times 6. And this will give us PQ is equal to 24. And okay, yeah, PQ is equal to 24. So this will give us equation 2. Okay, so from equation 1, if we make Q the P the solid formula, that will give us 14 minus Q. And we'll call this equation 3. So we're going to put equation 3, put 3 in 2 in place of P. So P. So we have here 14 minus Q. Q is equal to 24. So 14 times Q, 14Q minus Q times Q gives us minus Q squared is equal to 24. So bring this to this side. It's just 14Q minus Q squared minus 24 is equal to 0. So when we arrange, we're going to have minus Q squared plus 14Q minus 24 is equal to 0. Now, coefficient of Q squared, in order for it to be positive, we need to multiply through by minus 1. So when we do that, we multiply through by minus 1. This part will be, let me write it, multiply through by minus 1. So there will be minus 1 minus Q squared plus 14Q minus 24 is equal to 0. So minus 1 times minus Q, minus 1 times minus Q will give us Q squared. Minus 1 times plus 14Q will give us minus 14Q. Minus 1 times minus 24 will give us plus 24. Now is equal to 0. So now we have a quadratic equation. So if you multiply this with this side, you're going to have 24Q squared. So factors of 24 are 6 and 4 and 12 and 2. 6 times 4 will give us 24, plus 6 plus 4 will give us 14. 12 times 2 will give us 24, 12 plus 2 will give us 14. But because of the signs, we need to now work with the signs. So if we, since there's negative 28 is positive, it means that two factors are negative. So minus 12Q times minus 2Q will give us plus 24Q squared, which is what we have here, plus 24Q squared. But when we multiply this with this AC, that is when this is AC, this is A, and this is C. So then minus 24 minus 12Q minus 2Q is equal to minus 14Q, which is what we have here. So we'll replace this with the whole of this. So Q squared minus 12Q minus 2Q plus 24 is equal to 0. Okay, so Q squared minus 12Q will give us minus 2Q plus 24 equal to 0. And then Q will give us Q minus 12, then minus 2Q minus 12 equal to 0. And this will give us Q minus 2 and Q minus 12 is equal to 0. So we say either Q minus 2 is equal to 0 or Q minus 12 is equal to 0. So this gives us Q is equal to 2 or Q is equal to 12. Because from equation 3, to get the value of P is equal to 14 minus Q. 14 minus Q. So where Q is equal to 2, P is equal to 14 minus 2. That's equal to 12. And where Q is equal to 12, P is equal to 14 minus 12, which is equal to 2. So this tells us that if P is 2, then Q will be 12. And if P is 12, Q will be 2. So therefore, the roots of therefore, you see the square roots of therefore the square root of 14 minus 4 root 6. 14 minus 4 root 6 are so root 2. So root p, if p is 12, that's root 12. Root 12 minus root 2. Now this is equal to, this can be converted to 2 root 3 minus root 2. Is root 12, 2 root 3 is the basic form of root 12. And remember this is equal to this, so the other root will be root 2 minus root 12, which is equal to 2 root 2 minus 2 root 3. So either of them will give you, so this is correct, this is correct. So in simple terms, it's simply root 2 minus root 12 twice. Root 2 minus root 12 twice. So let's run our check. Okay, let's do the check here. Check. Okay, to prove that this part, root 12, because when we started, we say root p minus root q should be equal to 14 minus 4 root 6, or root p minus root q squared should be equal to this. So let's see if that is true here. So let's get this part. So root 12 minus root 2 squared is equal to root 12 minus root 2, root 12 minus root 2. Root 12 times root 12 is equal to 12. Root 12 times root 2 equals minus root 24. Minus root 2 times root 12 is equal to minus root 24. Minus root 2 times minus root 2 gives us plus 2. 2 plus 12 is equal to 14. Minus root 12 minus root 24 minus root 24 gives us minus 2 root 24. And this is equal to 14 minus 2. Now, minus 2 root 24, when expressed in its basic form, 2 root 24 is equal to 2 root 6 times 4. And this is equal to 2 times root 6 times root 4, where root 4 is equal to 2. So that's 2 times root 6, because root 4 is equal to root 2. That's equal to 4 root 6. So 14 minus 4 root 6. Compare these final results to what you have here. They are the same. So this tells us that the square roots of 14 minus 4 root 6 are root 12 minus root 2, or root 2 minus root 12.